In recent weeks, the Florida Gators have added some studs to their 2026 recruiting class, and oh my God, I can't wait till they get on campus.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being Locked On Gators, your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free every single podcast and on YouTube. Happy Wednesday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And the Florida Gators have, in recent weeks, really over the course of the final month or the past month, have started to really fill out this recruiting class, right? And we did scouting reports for a good bunch of them, but today we got 3 more for you because we did take a little break, and I was very open about it that, hey, I like to do them 3 in a day, and there's going to be a lot of movement, so I'm not going to jump into it. But Desmond Green is the first one we're talking about. We're going in order of commitment, and Desmond Green was the most recent commit that we didn't have a scouting report come out for. 3-star everywhere except for Rivals, where he is a 4-star, listed as 6'4", 350 pounds, or 6'4", 6'5", 350 pounds. And you cut on the film, and you're looking at a nasty dude. Like, you turn on the film, and it opens with him throwing someone on the ground and staring at him. Nasty. And I will also say this. The amount of times that I've said that about an offensive line recruit or offensive line commit for the Florida Gators in this 2026 class is kind of crazy. But again, this is what they've been looking for, especially this year more than any. They've been looking for long, athletic, violent, mean offensive linemen, right? That's what they've been looking for. And oh man, did they get them in this class, right? And Desmond Green, listed 6'4", 6'5", 350 pounds. Huge frame. Like you watch the film and you just, even before you press play, you see his frame, or you just look at pictures of him and you see the frame and you're like, all right, that's a big dude, right? Probably going to be a road grader, not really going to be working out in space much, going to be hand-to-hand combat in a phone booth fighting near. Nope. You look at the film and he's getting out in space multiple times. Him pulling was evidently crucial to the success of the offense, because the amount of times that you see Desmond Green pull is insane. Whether that's out in space in the run game or pulling as a blocker for a screen game, it's huge. Like, you watch him get out in space and he's pulling and he's moving in space. You watch him chasing someone downfield. You watch Desmond Green's film and you're looking for an offensive lineman that he is one of the few I've written down is never not looking for work. He's not looking for work only when he is staring down someone after throwing them on the ground. And he doesn't stop until they're on the ground. You watch his film and there's times where he's clearly won the battle. He's clearly won the war there. But the guy's not in the ground yet. And Desmond Green goes, well, you're going to be, and just throws him in the ground. Like it's violent and it's fun. And it's different. We've talked about some film where it's like, well, you're shoving guys and there's no real purpose, right? You're shoving guys and you're shoving them to where your quarterback would be. Desmond Green's like, no, I'm shoving them to just completely instill dominance. And it's beautiful. I love seeing it. His hands do get a bit wide too often, and I don't know if the rules in South Carolina are just more lax in high school, but there's times where he's got his hands like wrapped around defenders, and he's basically bear hugging them, and there's not a flag thrown, and so it's really just interesting to see. But I mean, obviously, you're gonna have to get that tucked in. Way better for college. I do like how one thing that he did that I don't think I wrote it on film for anybody else, but the way that he kind of reroutes himself is pretty cool to see. Like you'll see him as a puller and he's going from the left guard to the right side and he's kind of like riding behind the offensive line. And there will be an edge rusher is his target. Edge rusher is his responsibility, right? And you'll see edge rusher will take a really wide angle to go deeper into the backfield and try to wrap around. And a lot of offensive linemen you'll see won't make it, right? And it's not that this was like a play where I watch it and I go, oh, that's NFL athleticism, right? But it was a play where I watch it and I go, that's SEC athleticism, which is the closest thing to NFL athleticism you're going to get without being in the NFL. So I look at it and I go, that's SEC athleticism. I'm not saying he can't get more athletic, but right now, that's there where edge rusher takes a really wide angle and he gets in front of him completely, shuts him down completely, and makes a play. And again, it wasn't this, it wasn't a play where you watch that and you go, that's a first round pick, but it was a play where you watch that and you go, all right, we know he can move. Like that solidifies. We know you can move on the field because we're watching you, a smaller edge rusher, a faster edge rusher, and we're watching you get there, cut him off, and you changed your route. Because when you started, you were kind of, I'll pull my phone here, I guess. When you started, you were kind of trailing right behind the offensive line, looping around right there. Edge rusher comes around, and you went, and you kind of changed your route. And that's impressive athleticism there. So, again, it wasn't an insanely athletic play, but it was a play that stood out. It was a play that popped, and it was a play that I think a lot of high school players aren't going to make properly, and Desmond Green did it. Really strong anchor in pass protection, and we spoke about this when Desmond Green committed to Florida, that you watch his film and we don't know or I don't know if it's just the style of play. Like I've said before, I'm from New York. Everybody runs the ball here. Like it's a running league, we say, for PSAL, which is public school, New York. We say it's a running league. Part of that's because offensive linemen are just too bad to really pass protect or whatever it may be. The athletes, the quarterbacks, combination of things, right? So I don't know what it is in South Carolina in his area, but we didn't see him in pass protection much. And we talked about that when he committed, where it's not a big knock that, he can't do this, but it is something that we haven't seen him do. And to me, that just leaves the door open for he might be bad at it. He might be good at it. Based on how athletic he looks, I do think that he's going to be able to slot in properly. Based on the anchor you see in the limited reps, I think that he's going to be able to step in and contribute. But we'll see what he is long term. But the physical tools are there. And I would say also the offense that Desmond Green played in, it felt so tight quarters, right? Not many passing plays on film. You come out and you look at the play and it's like, all right, well, we got a quarterback, two backfield players, because one could be a tight end, one could be a running back. We got a quarterback, two backfield players, and they're on the same side, and there's a tight end in line, and there's one receiver out wide, and everybody's condensed, and we're going to run the football there. Like it just feels so busted like that. Like it's a lot to watch on the offense of just chaos and mayhem. And it does make his film, to be honest, it makes the film a little bit tougher, but go back, find out where he really was, because they circle it on the film, and it's like, all right, well, there's 4 guys in that circle. So makes the film a little bit difficult to read, but damn good player in it, right? That note wasn't even about him. That was just about the offense that he played in. Really strong hands too, by the way. Like once he gets his hands on defenders, I don't remember seeing him lose his grip unless it was to take his hands off and shove again, or for him to just step away from it. But I don't remember seeing him lose his grip on a defender the entire time. We are going to talk about a defender now. In fact, we're going to talk about defenders for the rest of the show when we get back with Locked On Gators. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, high-stakes soccer action, Wimbledon, Ben Shelton making a run right now, or, well, by the time this comes out, that match will have been played, so maybe not anymore, but FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. Like, you're already following the action, right? Just make it a little more thrilling. With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day, every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. And for this segment, we are talking about the defensive lineman Kendall Guervil, which, by the way, the Locked On Gators Insider Program got these scouting reports yesterday. They get everything earlier than viewers and listeners do. And if you want to join that, go to joinsubtext.com/LockedOnGators or join with the link in the description below for the subtext group. But Kendall Guervil is a 4-star defensive lineman on every site. 24/7 is the highest on him, is 77th nationally. Listed as 6'4", 6'5", depending on where you look. 315 pounds. And he's a big boy. You watch, he's a big boy. He can play multiple spots on the defensive line, right? And I will say this, that when you watch his film and you see him line up all over, I'm pretty sure the first play he's lined up as a 5 tech. Second play, I think he's a 1 or a 0. Later on, you see him as like a 7 and a 9. Like you'll see him line up everywhere, right? I think in high school, this is very, I think, common for a lot of people, high school, he's lining up wider than he's going to line up in college. However, I will say that I could see him play 5 tech and in college. You get him at the 5 tech or in, and that's good. Like things like Tyreek Sapp, where he lines up. Not the same player, but Kendall Guervil can line up there and in. And again, like, we don't know what's going to happen with his weight, right? He's 6'4", 6'5", 315 pounds. He can gain a little bit and play more on the interior. He can lose and play more on the edge. Or not so much, jack, but play more of a pure 5-tech role. Like, we can figure that out. That's fine. I do think that's one of those situations where it's like, well, what is he going to be once he gets with an SEC strength and conditioning program? What's he going to be once he gets to Gainesville and he's with us? Is he going to just swole up? Is he going to trim down? What's that going to be? And so I do think, and it also depends on, how everybody's planning or how everybody's playing and panning out, because that is a thing where it's like, all right, well, we need you to bulk up a little bit, which I do think is considerably easier than needing someone to trim down, but could say, hey, we need you to bulk up a bit. We're going to need you more at the 3-tech this year. Sorry. Figure it out. You could see that, but I do think that Kendall Guervil, his frame, like it doesn't look like ugly weight at all. And maybe this is just on film during playing season, but like, I don't know. I did not see pictures where I looked at him and I was like, yeah, doesn't look clean. Like, maybe that's just me, but like that weight looks clean. Doesn't look like he's going to need a ton of work in the weight room. So frame-wise, like, he's there. And when he plays, like, you can see the pop when he engages with blockers. If I'm not mistaken, the first play of his film fires off the edge, collides with an offensive lineman. I think the kid's wearing number 61. Collides with an offensive lineman, and you see the offensive lineman go, whoa, just drop back a little bit. Like, he's completely taken off. But that's the thing, is that you see that on Kendall Guervil's film constantly. Like, you see that all throughout the film. You see Kendall Guervil engage with an offensive lineman and the offensive lineman be engaged with. Like, that's how it is. It's not, oh, they're engaging each other. It's that the defensive lineman, Kendall Guervil, is engaging an offensive lineman, and the offensive lineman is like, son of it's notable when you watch him. He's got pop, and I love it, by the way. Like, I don't know, something about someone who is just like, the finesse stuff is really cool, right? Watching edge rushers like Dante Fowler, who have that first step and they just get by offensive line. Dante Fowler is always going to be like my holy grail, or not even holy grail, but I don't even know what to call it. But he's always going to be cream of the crop when we're talking about just elite finesse rusher. Like, that's going to be him always. But something about a defensive lineman who can just pummel you and beat the crap out of you with just raw strength is awesome. And that's the thing too. I think Kendall Guervil has raw strength, right? Like active hands, super active hands. But pass rush plan, basically non-existent. Like you see him hand fight, but you don't really see him break out moves, time them up, work through. Like he's kind of just like, hey, I know I'm stronger than everybody in front of me because I'm a dude. Like he's just like, I know I'm stronger than everyone. I'm gonna pummel him, and that's great. Like to be able to do that is awesome. But when you step to the SEC, it's going to be different. And I do think that for Kendall Guervil, a big part of the task is going to be for Gerald Chapman to just refine that. Because like you watch the pop, he's got great burst. Like I will say this, which this is actually the next note on the scouting report that I have, but great burst, but his get off, not great. And by that, I mean, when he starts going, snaps through. But I don't know if it's him looking for the ball or trying to watch what's going on, but does seem like he's like a half second after the ball snap is when he starts going. There's even a play on his highlight film where you watch it and offense starts moving, all the D linemen start moving, and then Kendall Guervil starts moving, and he still gets in first. He's still the best there. He's still the fastest, but like imagine what you could be if you have that great burst, have that power that you have, so you can connect with offensive linemen before they're dropped into their set, and you're getting off the ball like that. Because that's the thing, like he's got the burst. Again, once he starts going, he's going. But just a bit slow to get off there in the sense of like he just is late to get off. Always early to get there, but late to get off. And so I think if you could just pick that up a little bit, that'll really elevate. And then again, figuring out a pass rush plan is something that he needs to do. Again, power dominant. It's just, teach him how to use his hand because he's using his hands. Like he's fighting, he's going, but he's not using his hands with purpose. He's just clobbering and clamoring. Like that's what he's doing. You got to teach him, slow is smooth, smooth is fast kind of thing. Teach him how to use his hands, and he's going to be a beast. Like, and he looks like an NFL, like a SEC defender already. Like how freaking big he is. Again, like I said, clean frame. He doesn't have messy weight, it looks like. And there's times he just absolutely ragdolls offensive players. Ragdolls them. There's one where he's got the running back, and he's just bringing the guy backwards. Like they go like 7 yards before the running back hits the ground. It's crazy. And you watch him as he's engaged with blockers. Again, the hand technique is a mess, right? They're active, but they're active without purpose. But you could still take things away from that by when you watch him play, he's still looking at the ball. There are plays where you can clearly see his head going, and he's looking at the ball carrier, the quarterback, wherever it is, but he's looking at that and fighting with his hands while he's doing it. That's why I think that they've done a really good job with the staff this year, has done a really good job of bringing in talented football players that have things you can't teach. Because, you could teach strength, but to have that right now against the level that he has, like the amount of times he engages with an offensive lineman and the offensive lineman is clearly taken back by it, I don't think you could teach that in high school kids. Like that's freakish power because it's not just strength. It's not just, I can bang this number of reps on the bench. And I got 43 reps at 225, combine record for the past 10 years or whatever the hell it's going to be. No, but to have that power, and you can tell when he engages with a lineman that the lineman feels that. It's not just strength, it's power that Kendall Guervil has. And that I really don't know if you could teach because that's just... That's your strength plus your acceleration and all that crap. And it's awesome to watch. It is. Like that's fun film to watch. And when I do my re-rankings, when I'm done with watching all of the recent commits, I think Kendall Guervil is going to be pretty high on the list because that's a guy I look at and I'm like, all right, get ready to wreck stuff at the SEC level as a pass rusher on the interior. We got one more guy to talk about. We're flipping to the secondary for CJ Hester when we get back with Locked On Gators. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free if it's the podcast and on YouTube. And to wrap up today's show, we are talking about cornerback CJ Hester. And listed as 6'1", 175 pounds. He's a 4-star everywhere except for 24/7, where he's a 3-star. And his film was also really fun. It was. His film was also really fun to just see CJ Hester play out in coverage. When you watch CJ Hester, you're watching someone who is, first off, a risk taker. I was going to say gambler, and I was like, that's considering all the players in every sport that have been dealt with that. Let's not. So that's what the hesitation was for there. But you're watching a boomer bust player that's taking risks. He is. I'm not complaining about it. Long arms, really fluid hips, which, based on CJ Hester, CJ Bronaugh, is something that I feel like they're prioritizing more. And I do think that, in recent classes, you saw guys where didn't have super fluid hips. Not bad hips, but weren't super fluid. And that Florida was pursuing heavily. And now you're watching them take in guys that have those long arms, really fluid hips, are good athletes. CJ Hester gets his head around the mega play on the ball consistently. CJ Bronaugh also did that a lot. It's very clear what they're looking for mentality-wise. Again, going back to just the shift it feels like with this 2026 recruiting class. And maybe the shift feels like that more because they're actually landing the kids this time. But with CJ Hester, CJ Bronaugh, the entire offensive line, the entire defensive line, the linebacker room, like they're looking for people who move with intent, move with purpose in terms of their mentality. I know Kendall Guervil, I said, his hands are moving, but they're not moving with purpose. But the mentality is there. And CJ Hester and CJ Bronaugh are both trying to make a play on the ball. CJ Hester might be a bit of like a Marcus Peters type, where constantly looking for the ball. And when it does play out for him, great, right? And he's been very successful doing it. Awesome. But you can see even on the highlight film, the upside plays, you can see him. There's a couple times where he kind of bites down a little bit, just anticipating it. There's not a pump fake, but just anticipating a throw. If I'm between two receivers, I'll drop back even more than usual. And that way, when you throw it to the or to the receiver that's underneath, I'm firing downhill. Because it's easier, of course, to fire downhill when you're dropping back than it is to turn and run and make a play. So I'll give you a little bit more space here, and then I'll fire downhill to make a play. And you can watch CJ Hester looking at the quarterback consistently. Like he's looking for it, which I'm not complaining about. I'm just saying that that's a boom or bust thing that you're going to have to deal with. And I'm fine with it, honestly. Like I'm fine with boomer bust players. I'm fine with boomer bust plays. I'm down to get a little risky, throw a deep ball. I'm looking for it. That's it. Like I'm looking for the deep ball. I want that. I'm someone who I think is typically pretty safe with a lot of things. Hell no, on the football field, I want the deep ball. I want you to go make a play on the ball. I want you to go make those big plays, and CJ Hester's a guy that's going to do them. Loved his change of direction. Like the way that you can see him when he gives you that extra space, the way he sinks his hips and fires downhill, beautiful. Like beautiful, fluid guy. You can see him, and this might be a bigger issue in the SEC than it is in high school, but you can see him lose reps initially in press coverage a couple times. I forgot who it was, or I forgot which clip it was, but receiver powers through the receiver doesn't do anything to beat the press, just runs through the press. CJ Hester, athletic enough to cover up and recover there. I'm not sure if you're going to have that same ability in the SEC. If you're going to lose those reps and you're facing Ryan Williams, Cam Coleman, might be a bit tough to win those reps. So I would like to see, further improvement on that in his senior year. He knows where he is on the field, I think, better than any corner I've seen in a long time coming out of high school, just in the sense of he is consistently, he's consistently giving the receiver the outside. And that's not a bad thing. Sideline's your friend, right? It's like basketball. Sideline's your friend here if you're a defender. And so CJ Hester consistently gives the receiver the sideline. And then as the ball's coming up, he is just pressing. Like let's say this is the sideline and CJ Hester's route is just pressing you against the sideline until you're out of bounds. He's the only one that can make a play on the ball. Does it a lot. He's behind, or I guess we'll say ahead. He's further downfield than a receiver, and the ball's coming over top. He'll stay in front and he'll slow down to make sure you don't have a chance to catch it. Like you see him do, he's essentially boxing you out. You see him do that, and I love it. Like that kind of just awareness of where you are on the field is big. CJ Hester, ton of fun to watch this film. Not afraid of contact at all. Like you look, and he's hitting big dudes. Like he's hitting big ass kids. There's no other way to, like, big dudes, tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks that are big. He doesn't care. He's hitting. I love seeing it. Punching at the ball. Usually, from what I saw at least, it felt like he would only do that when there was already a tackler engaged with the ball carrier, which big plus, big thumbs up there. I will say there were a couple times where, he got grabby with physical receivers. He did. If he gave up a little bit of too much ground than he was anticipating, or at least that's what I'm interpreting it as, and he gets a little bit grabby when he's out of position. When he gets thrown off, he gets kind of messy there. Just got to figure out a way to recover there, right? That's it. But I think for me, one of the biggest things with CJ Hester outside of just the mentality was squeezing receivers to the sideline, boxing them out when the ball's going deep. Like just making sure where even if you aren't making a play, they aren't making a play. Because ultimately, as a corner or a DB, a defender, whatever it is, part of your job is to go take the ball away. But a more important part of your job is to not let them score. Any means. That's it. Like a more important part of your job is to make the right play. And CJ Hester does that a lot. I like this film. Another guy that's going to be probably higher than I love what they're doing on defense. This class is awesome. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free with us podcast and on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow at the absolute latest. Talk more Florida Gators football for Locked On Gators. Also, think either tonight or tomorrow morning we've got our first Dynasty video for College Football 26 dropping on the Whole Nine Sports YouTube page. So go check that out. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI, and I will see you all next time.